Hey, Gary Becker here with Publisher Report. Today we're talking about keywords. Keywords, what they are, how to use them, where to put them. And when we talk about where to put them, of course, that brings into the conversation the infamous 7 keyword boxes and what to put in these keywords and how to choose them. Specifically, we're going to be looking at the Amazon KDP help article, which is titled, Make Your Book More Discoverable with Keywords. Of course, this is how to add and update keywords, best practices, useful keyword types, and keywords to avoid. They also have other metadata and keyword tips here, as well as a video. I'll leave a link to this page. You should definitely read this page to understand this more in depth and always have it for your reference. We're going to focus here on best practices, useful keyword types, and keywords to avoid. Now, what is a keyword? A keyword is a word, or it's also a phrase, meaning a group of words that describes your book that a real person is going to use and type into Amazon when they're searching for a book to purchase. And that's the entire reason for Amazon giving you these keyword fields, these 7 boxes, is for you to describe your book even more than you've already done with your title and your subtitle, which are used to index. That means actually tell Amazon what your book is about. So when someone types in that keyword phrase or description of your book, then they find your book, and then eventually, hopefully, it ranks on the first page and it gets found, it gets clicked, and it gets purchased. Now, you use a combination of words to come up with a keyword phrase. As an example, you use the keyword phrase notebook. Now, it's going to be hard to rank for notebook, so typically what happens is you add some identifiers at the front and the back to describe your notebook. Awesome notebook, cute notebook, awesome notebook for girls, cute notebook for women. And that's explained here in the best practices. Combine keywords in the most logical order. Customers search for military science fiction, but probably not for fiction, science, military. So you can see that this is a science book, but it's a military science fiction book. And that's the way people say it. So don't put fiction, science, military in your keyword box. And also this covers the point of keywords to avoid. Information covered elsewhere in your book's metadata, your title, or your contributors. So you don't need to reuse the word notebook, or at least that's what people say. This doesn't tell you not to repeat the word notebook. It tells you to use descriptive keywords. So this leaves it up to you to test and see what you have the most or the best results with during your testing when you're using these 7 keyword boxes. Also understand the limitations of each box. You only get 50 characters, so if you were to type in the alphabet, you'll see that's 26 characters. And if you start retyping the alphabet again, you're going to see that it ends at the letter X again. So if you don't know how many characters that is, simply copy that. Head over to character count tool, paste that in. You'll see that is 50 characters, including spaces. So every character matters, so only use characters that matter to include the spaces. And don't use any punctuation or quotes. As they say here in keywords to avoid, quotation marks in search terms, single words work better than phrases, and specific words work better than general ones. If you enter complex, suspenseful, whodunit in quotes, only people who type all those words will find your book. For better results, enter this: complex space, suspenseful space, whodunit. Customers can search for any of those words and find your book. So this is a little bit contradictory in my opinion. It says to use phrases, but then it tells you that any of these words in that phrase can be used to find your book. So what this means is you need to prioritize the way that you enter the information in the 7 boxes. Think first of phrases that describe your book, like they said in the military science fiction example, but also understand that each one of those words stand alone. So science, military, and fiction will also be ranked with your book. And you can actually test this to see which keywords your book are indexed for. And I'll show you that little trick right now by using the word notebook. Of course, if you just type in the word notebook, you're going to get a ton of notebooks. And what we're looking for are notebooks that are paperback and that are bestsellers. To use it as an example, we're going to use this black cover notebook right here. And to do that, we're simply going to copy the ASN or the ASIN. We're going to go to Amazon, we're going to paste that in, and we're going to hit enter. and you're going to see that it's going to return that notebook as the only result. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the obvious, and we're going to add a plus and the word black, and we're going to search for it again. As you can see, that returns the notebook black cover. So again, we'll go plus black cover, we'll hit enter, and you're going to see that it again ignore these three sponsored journals, but it returned notebook black cover as the only search result. So now what we want to do is we want to think about what else might they have tried to index this book for. So let's try the word awesome. Hit enter, and you can see here that if we search for plus awesome and the ASIN, this book also shows up. So more than likely, this was one of the keywords that they used to index, because this works. If you don't believe me, just type the word cat. You're going to see that no results came up for this ASIN of that book plus the word cat. So therefore, cat is not a word that they use to describe this book in the title, the subtitle, or their 7 back-end keyword boxes. Now you can take this a little deeper with keywords so you can understand it, and we'll do one more example, and that example will be gratitude journal. We'll scroll down, and of course the big time gratitude journal that everyone loves and knows is that one right there. Of course that's sponsored result, but if you scroll down, you're going to see that it ranks organically, or meaning that the keyword gratitude journal shows up for the ranking, of course, because it has a BSR of 672. Good days start with gratitude, a 52-week guide to cultivate an attitude of gratitude, gratitude journal. They actually used the keyword phrase gratitude journal. And of course, the word gratitude is sprinkled all throughout there to describe the book. Now, whether or not you need to do that is debatable, but this book works because it sells, and it sells a lot with a lot of reviews at 22,914. Copy that ASIN back to Amazon, paste that in, hit search, and you're going to see that that book shows up quite a bit. It shows up individually. It also shows up in groups. But the point here is it shows up, and it also shows up if we were to enter plus. You can also see here that it's actually ranking in Amazon for people that have tried this before. So you can see here it ranks for self-help. But let's just see if it ranks for women. So an additional keyword phrase that you would put in your 7 boxes would be for women, and as you can see, this ranks for women as a keyword or a keyword phrase, meaning that you would enter this keyword phrase without the plus into your keywords, because your book or your journal in this case is for women. Go back, search for men, and you can see that it does not show up for men, meaning they did not use the keyword men for this journal because it is not the target audience. They are targeting this journal at women. Again, it goes back to what Amazon told you. Think like the person that's going to be buying the book. Who's going to be most likely typing in, and what are they going to be typing in when they're trying to buy a book? In this case, a gratitude journal, or a gratitude journal specifically for a woman. Whether or not a man is buying it or not as a gift is a different story, but it is what someone would be typing in when they are looking for a gratitude journal for women. Again, whether it's a woman or a man, it doesn't matter. It is what the person that wants to buy the book is looking for and what they're typing into the search bar. And that's what these 7 keywords are all about. So refer to this article, Make Your Book More Discoverable with Keywords, How to Add Keywords, Best Practices, Useful Keywords, and Keywords to Avoid. Understand that using the word book is a common thing, so you don't need to put the word book. As in the same case of journal or notebook, you don't need to use it. Make sure you don't have any spelling errors. Also, if there's a variation of spelling, for example, Hanukkah or Hanukkah with a CH, then you need to make sure that you put that in there so it'll be ranked or indexed and then rank for either one of those words. Also, don't use misrepresentations of authors that are not associated with the book. This means don't try to rank your book for something like Harry Potter or J.K. Rowling if you're not J.K. Rowling and it's not a Harry Potter book, but you think that people might be interested in your book because it has wizards on it. Don't do it. That is not where you can use this type of thing. You can do that in ads, but you cannot do that in your keywords inside of the 7 boxes that you get to try to identify to Amazon what your book is about so they can actually index it and show it to people and rank when people are searching for your book. Speaking of ads, one last tip. If you want to understand more and know about keywords and what keywords work and what keywords don't work, run an ad and run an auto ad. And then when you run the ad, you'll be able to see in the ad group the actual search terms that Amazon is displaying your book for. In this case, this is a guest book. So guest book for a rental house, karaoke bed and breakfast, which is very specific, a vacation rental guest book, or a visitor book. So if your book is about these things, then you would use those keywords. Of course, this is very specific. And when you do a search for that, it shows up as a book, a title. So this is a series. I'm sure that this is something that is trademarked. So that would not be something that you would use in your 7 keyword boxes. But if your book resonated with that keyword and people clicked on it and people bought from using that keyword, then you could use that in ads. But again, you couldn't use that in your 7 keywords. Go back to the J.K. Rowling Harry Potter example, because those are very famous and people know that. But don't use trademarks in your 7 boxes as your keywords. And make sure that your keywords actually describe your book, because if they don't and you just use them, it's not going to do any good. Amazon's going to index it. It's going to rank. People are going to ignore it, and that's going to hurt your book because that's going to be an impression, meaning people have seen it. They're not going to click on it. That's going to drive your book down in the rankings, whether or not it's indexed for that keyword or not. So at this point, always keep in mind and think about what people are searching for and the fact that they're real people looking for real books, and they're typing in words, and those words are keywords and keyword phrases, and those are how Amazon indexes your book and people find your book, and how your book gets ranked, how people click on your book and they look at your description. And note that your description is not ranked by Amazon or not indexed by Amazon and will not help your book rank. But as an aside, the description is ranked by Google, meaning if somebody was to type in specifically something in your description, it might rank in the first page of Google with a link or with the link to your Amazon book, and it might get clicked on. So think about that. Also think about the importance of the description in describing your book, so people are more tempted to purchase your book, but understand it has nothing to do with being indexed or ranking as far as keywords that you need to think about putting in your description to be indexed and ranked by the Amazon algorithm. The best and only way to know how this works is to test. And Amazon covers this in the section Other Metadata and Keyword Tips by telling you you can change keywords and descriptions as often as you like. The reason you can do this is because you need to hone this in, you need to test it, you need to actually figure out what people are searching for to find your book. And then again, that description is important because when people read that description, it's going to influence their decision and it's going to make them want to buy your book because they're going to know exactly what's inside your book. Because a lot of times the look inside feature isn't available because it's not available on mobile, or maybe it just shows 1 or 2 pages and it doesn't show the complete picture of the book. So make sure that you pay attention to that, but don't worry about it as far as keywords, meaning the information that Amazon is going to use to actually rank your book and get it found when people are searching for it because they're looking for the exact book that they want to purchase. So keep thinking about keywords, keep doing research, and of course, click on the video you see on the screen right now to learn more and see more research. Click that video. I'll see you over there, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.